Hi, this is John from VSight. In this walkthrough, I will be introducing you our VSight Workflow application, which is essentially a platform to provide you with interactive step-by-step digitalized work instructions. So you can consider this as the ultimate replacement of the paper-based work instructions that you might be previously using. And these instructions can be used for quality assurance, for initial product setup, work documentation, as well as training purposes. And thanks to our user-friendly interface, the no-code editor on the workflows, as well as having the option to use with both offline and online, you will be enhancing your operational effectiveness. So let's dive in. For this walkthrough, we'll be using the browser version of VSight Workflow. And at first, I will be showing you the account of a field worker so that we will be able to complete an assigned workflow to us. So when we log in, we will be able to see all the assigned workflows for this account. So for the sake of this demonstration, I will be using the workflow titled Maintenance of a Clipping Disk Group to see how to do this maintenance by following these steps. So when we say select, at first it starts with an introduction about the workflow so that you will be more familiar with the upcoming steps. You will be notified about how many tests are there to complete, and also an estimated duration determined by the expert who created this workflow. And if you like to organize these workflows into like operations, department, or location, you can also use these tags accordingly. So the first step asks us to identify a personal protective equipment image. Thanks to the AI detection that our platform has, you will be able to identify glasses, gloves, and helmets, which are all personal protective equipment. So when you pick an image, and for this demonstration, I will be using these as a placeholder, assuming that these are work gloves. If they were to be like real gloves, they would be identified as personal protective equipment, and you will be able to go to the next step. And the expert can make this as a required field or an optional, which will be acting as an additional layer of protection before starting to the operation itself. On the second step, it will be used as to identify the tools which will be needed for this operation so that the field worker will be more familiar with the workflow. And these are all ideas in order to show what you can do with the workflow. Depending on the operations, I think the options are unlimited. There is no limits, honestly speaking. And in the third step, it shows an image which the first and second disks are labeled. And if you are going through these while removing, you can click on this as a checkbox. And when you resume with the second one, you can also click on this and continue accordingly. And on the fourth step, you can be asked as a measurement question. And when you are done with the measuring, you can choose an answer which is applicable and continue accordingly. And of course, most of the work procedures are not linear. And as VSight, we are also aware from that. And thanks to the conditions that we have on our workflow platform, depending on the answer given to a specific question, you will be able to create new lines depending on these conditions to resume with other steps. And if you want to connect them once again, thanks to our editor, we will be also showing them in the editor side of our platform. And going back to the workflow, you can implement a data sheet in order to instruct the field worker to follow these steps and do the, let's say, replacement accordingly in a successful way. You can also put a video of a session of a previous application of the same procedure so that the field worker will be familiar with what to do by exactly checking the video, and then assuming that it's being watched entirely, then they can also pick a video so that the expert will be able to track the quality of the operation. So this is where this two-way encoding and decoding comes into play. So as the expert can provide some content in the form of image, video, they can also ask the field worker to upload their own operations respectively. So let's assume we put a video of our operation, then you can put a measurement question identifying that the Celsius degree should be between -10 to 99 degrees. So let's say 70. So when you put this input as well, then you can have an dynamic image that shows the application and the steps to remove the belt box. So after watching this, in a similar way, the same steps can be followed by the field worker. Then as the final step, 11th step, you can ask the field worker to pick an image to show you the end result. So assuming that we put one, when we submit, it will be submitted to the relevant expert. And when you come to the reports, for example, as the field worker, you can also see all the workflows that you have submitted in the history with their details as well. So if you want to track your own performance or own activity history, this is also an essential tool to see like how many minutes or like overall duration I've spent in an workflow for each step, what was the input that I was shared, the answers that I've given, etc. So it's also providing a two-way feedback. And if you want, you can also export these as CSV or save as a PDF for additional reporting purposes. So going to the admin panel in which these workflows are created by the expert. So when we say login, first I would like to show you the exact workflow we worked on. So it was this. So I will be showing you the behind the scenes of this specific workflow. So when you say edit draft, as you can see, the name, description, all these tags or the estimated duration, you can all do these from this introduction, the details tab. And if you come to the editor, you can see all the steps that we went through in the previous minutes. So each step can be edited. So when we clicked on the safety check, so for example, in this case, we selected hand cover. If you want, you can make this field required, once again, meaning that if AI cannot detect the hand cover, the field worker will not be able to proceed with the next step, which is a possibility. So for the tool sets, we have a text label on the left for the instruction and an image on the right to show the necessary toolbox. So, for example, this was a checkbox, if you remember, first disk and second disk, and there's a radio button with options of yes and no, which will be used to form different connections. So coming to the connections, you can see the overall layout of your workflow, either linear or not. For example, in this very workflow, the measure disk step is conditional with the radio button. So if the answer is yes, for example, then it takes you to remove belt box tab directly. But depending on the different answers, you can go to diagram. If no conditions are applied, then you can go to clean disk steps. So each will be determined by the expert in order to provide this flexibility depending on the conditional nature of the operation. And while sharing a workflow with our easy access tab, you can use a link to directly share it with the relevant people, or you can use the QR code as well. As long as you share it, you will be able to make others join to this workflow and complete the steps. So on the field, depending on the scenario, we also have this flexibility thanks to our easy access. And when we close it, briefly, I would like to also show you how to create a new workflow. So when you say create a workflow, you will be choosing a language, let's say English. And when you say create, it will first show you the details tab, the name, description, let's say demo purposes, labels, let's say VSight, estimated duration 10 minutes. And when you come to the editor, you can start from scratch. Then you say create a new step. It asks either full page layout, vertical or horizontal, depending on the preference, let's say vertical. You can put all these, for example, text input for this. And then you can put an image, let's say the image instruction. You can drag and drop or upload an image. Let's put the VSight emblem. If you want, you can provide some text input to this place as well. All up to preference. You can change colors, etc. And then it will be a part of the step. So let's create 4 steps to show you the mindset. For example, this will be a radio button, option 1. You can add another option. And then when you come to the connections and turn them on, for second step, you can add a connection saying that if the radio button answer is option 2, then go to step 4 directly by avoiding step 3. So this can be done once again to show you the connections. So this is the overall idea about how to create a workflow. And the reporting side is similar compared to the previous view of the field worker. So when you come to that, all the workflows which will be submitted to you will be available here. For example, this is the one that we have recently used, submitted by John. So you will see the overall duration, a single duration on a specific step, all the input, everything will be available here. And this is also nice for A/B testing because sometimes apart from the quality assurance advantages, you can also see the bottlenecks of a certain work procedure to see which steps are taking longer so that maybe you will come up with a more effective way to complete these tasks, which also help by using our VSight Workflow platform. With this walkthrough, I've shown you the essentials of our VSight Workflow application, both showing the admin side of things with the editor, reporting, etc., as well as the vision of the field worker on how to complete an assigned workflow. If you have any further questions, you can connect me on LinkedIn or you can email me to john@vsight.io. Until next time, take care.